has been a long and arduous road to WrestleMania. Courtney keeps asking, are we there yet? And is that Pat McAfee? David keeps asking for toilet stops, but only so he can Obafemi march across the forecourt gas station car park situation. And Brad keeps criticizing my driving and says, why does EO Sky not have a match? We'll answer all those questions and much more as Allegiant Stadium is just up ahead in the distance because WrestleMania 42 is 1 week away. Hello, everyone. My name's Dion McCracken. This is episode 3 of That Sweet Pop. He is Brad Lewis, she is Courtney Coburn, and he is David Dunn. And we're going to get into our predictions in this very special episode. But Brad, before we do start, and before we let Court and Dave in, WrestleMania is nearly here. You know, I know you've been looking forward to this chat with Dave and Courtney ever since episode 17 when we went back through 2026 predictions. Scale of 1 to 10 on the pumpometer, which, as we know, measures how pumped you are. A, how pumped are you for this chat? And B, how pumped are you for WrestleMania?
Okay, so pumped for this chat at 10, right? So really looking forward to this. Spending time with you guys chatting wrestling is a lot of fun when the weather's like it is around the country. For WrestleMania, my pumpometer, it differs between matches, right? So my pumpometer for Brock versus Oba is like a 10 because the build for that has been as good as any build in recent memory for WrestleMania. There's a couple of other matches that I'm pumped for, but overall probably around a 6, but I feel like the build's been slightly better than last year, although the last 24 hours may have put a big dent in that, but I'm sitting at around a 6. But for some matches, I'm at a 10.
Well, look, I respect your honesty. Let's bring our guests in first. Courtney Coburn, who is all over social media with her great takes on all things WWE programming. Court, it's been a real wild ride, this road to WrestleMania. Some of it great, some of it not so. We're 1 week away. Where do you sit on the pumpometer?
So I'm going to follow the same scale you guys have got. In terms of chatting WrestleMania, I'm an 11 out of 10. I'm breaking the scale on that one. I always love chatting with like-minded wrestling fans and connoisseurs of WWE about, WrestleMania. It's the biggest show of the year. If we don't have some level of excitement, I am slightly worried towards how we are feeling about wrestling fans. But 11 out of 10 to chat with you guys about it. When it comes to the actual WrestleMania card, like Brad says, it definitely differs based on the matches. With the ladies' matches, I'm definitely feeling an 8 out of 10. I'm always really excited to see how they're going to perform at WrestleMania. Involvement of certain people, I think, is definitely muddying the waters for me and taking out some excitement that I do have towards some matches. I'm sure we'll get into that in the predictions. But yeah, middle of the road for me at the moment.
And we're also joined by David Dunn, a man that has racked up more frequent flyer miles and bus rides than anyone in New Zealand wrestling. And what David doesn't know about wrestling probably isn't worth knowing. So David, pumpometer, where do you sit?
Look, I'm sort of middle of the road as well. Obviously, the highs are very high this year, but unfortunately, I feel the lows are quite low as well. So it's averaging out at sort of a 5 or a 6. And there have certainly been WrestleManias that have had a higher average. But I think, it's a high ceiling, but it's also a low floor.
Yep, fair. I'm a 10 for this chat. I'm gonna bump up about 1 to 1.5 points from you. Like I'm a 7.5 or an 8. Because
I was gonna say
because I'm going.
And
I'm part optimist.
Going, bro. I'll be at a 10 if I was going.
Same.
Here's what else I've come to realize about myself. I'm optimistic about trash storylines because we've seen a lot in the last 40 years. We've seen a lot, but I'm a little bit optimistic about this one. Let's dig into it. There's nothing like WrestleMania Day, right? It's like Christmas morning. The anticipation of the show. I like the timing of it here in New Zealand that it hits around midday or so, but it's an all-day event for us. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about WrestleMania morning right now. I'm interested in your WrestleMania Day traditions. Do you have any? David, let's start with you. Do you do anything special on Mania Day?
Well, for a number of years there, pre-COVID, I was attending live. So for quite a lot of time, I was over in the States going to it. And obviously, Dion, as you know, an incredible experience. This time around, it's just more subdued being at home, but I like to, make sure we got a good audio system, plug in the sound bar, try and get that in the stadium feel, and just really settle down in front of the TV. Maybe I knock out a recipe from WWE magazine circa 2006, 2007.
Wow.
And just really try and get as ingratiated into the WrestleMania spirit in all facets that I can.
What are some of those recipes? Are they like know your roll buffalo wings or something?
Bobby Lashley's Slammin' Oatmeal Raisin Cookies have been a real crowd pleaser throughout my house in the last decade or so from there.
That's crazy.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's how you stay so lean, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if
Yeah.
Lashley can do it, right? What about you, Court? Do you have any traditions?
I honestly can't say that I have set traditions every single year. Last year, I was gracious enough to go to the show, so that kind of threw everything out of the water in terms of traditions. More or less, I'm probably just going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and if anyone needs to get a hold of me, they know between whenever it starts and whenever it ends, I'm simply non-contactable. And I have no apologies for that. It's the biggest show of the year. It's like Super Bowl for us. Public holiday in my house, so we don't really do anything other than get some good snacks and watch the show. Good setup with the sound and just making sure that you got your favorite wrestler's t-shirt on.
Public holiday, I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I often find myself a little bit sick on WrestleMania Monday as it happens here in New Zealand. What about you, Brad? Do you get up to anything special?
Well, it's changed a little bit since I have kids, and also recently got promoted at work, and I now do the rosters. So I've been able to roster myself off instead of calling in sick the night before. So that's been great. But it's changed a bit because the kids obviously they get pretty pumped about it, and they'll be obviously around on Sunday for night one. And my daughter normally likes to play a little bit of 2K. Play a couple of the women's matches. So she'll probably want to do Rhea and Jade and Becky and AJ, I'd imagine. So we'll give that a whirl. And just some comfort food, chips and dip. A couple of beers, couple of Coke Zeros, maybe a slushie, and rolling into it. But no real traditions, but definitely calling in sick for 2 straight days has been a tradition for the last sort of 4 years. So that's been fun.
Yeah, excellent. I'm all about the snackies. The 4 of us have been very lucky to have been in the stadium and experienced WrestleMania live. And I'm sure the 3 of you are much like me that you let people know that if you're thinking about going, notwithstanding the ticket prices at the moment, it cannot be recommended highly enough. It's a pinch me moment. And to me personally, it's one of my happy places being in that stadium. Let's kick into some predictions. So currently, I double-checked my math because I thought something might have been wrong here. 7 matches for WrestleMania Saturday, 6 matches for WrestleMania Sunday, which I find curious. Perhaps we haven't got the full card just yet. Maybe something's going to go down on Raw or SmackDown or on Saturday, or they're just allowing more room for like a Roman and Punk. We'll see how that goes down. We're going to do things a little bit differently in this round of predictions. We're going to say, A, who we want to win, and B, who we think will win. Which is kind of weird, isn't it? Wrestling is a sport, but it's not like other sports. So, who are we emotionally invested in and want to see progress their storyline? And what do we think the bookers are going to do? So let's go with that. We're going to go with those 2 predictions. And we'll kick off with WrestleMania Saturday, the night 1 main event, the Undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton with Pat McAfee. Let's kick off. Court, what are your thoughts on this match? Do you think Jelly Roll will be involved out there? And who do you think will win? Who do you want to win?
It's a great question, great match to start off with. It's very fresh in my mind as I just finished, obviously digesting all my thoughts from SmackDown last night. I do feel as though Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee are going to find a way to get involved. But what I'd love to see is Jelly Roll come down to the ring, take out Pat McAfee before the match even starts, just so that we can have Randy and Cody truly just tell their story in the ring. For me, I'm mixed about this. The story has 20 years worth of history. It has legacy behind it. It feels like the easy layup in basketball. But I feel as though WWE just hasn't managed to stick the landing on this one and truly just allow Cody and Randy to be able to tell their story. At this point in time, Randy kind of feels like he's taken a back seat to his own WrestleMania feud, and Cody is continuing to look weak in front of the fans every single week, and it's just making me feel like the expectations and the reality of this match aren't necessarily lining up. When it comes to predictions, I do want to see Randy gain that 15th World Championship, and I do believe that is probably what is going to happen in this match. I don't think Cody is going to find himself in a position where it does him any harm in losing, because we can, see him go again for the title, potentially challenging again at something like a SummerSlam. But it definitely looks like the stock on this is going towards Randy Orton.
Dave?
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty spot-on summary from Courtney there in terms of my thoughts. Although I veer slightly different in that I haven't enjoyed this feud as much as I would have liked to. So although I do think it will be a Randy Orton win come WrestleMania, I prefer it to Cody Rhodes, because that means that's the end of the story by and large, and we can we can move on to something else for the rest of the year. But I don't think that's where we're going. I think it's going to be Randy Orton, 16-time world champion, and things play out at least till SummerSlam.
Cool. Brad?
Want and think Randy will win just because he's one of my favorite all-time wrestlers, and I'm in his corner from a human standpoint. Frustrated with how this has gone because I don't think they needed all of this malarkey, and look, it's obviously been involved for a reason. What that is, let's just see how it plays out, as I like to say. Don't think SmackDown in the last 24 hours followed up what I didn't personally think was that bad a segment a couple of weeks ago, but last night was horrific. And
the Cody McAfee segment?
Yeah, like just wasn't good television. And yeah, like I feel like there's more to this to play out, and potentially it's going to be woven into both nights because of the CM Punk call out stuff. Like that's going to have to be played out somehow. And Punk wants his receipt. So look, I think and want Randy to win. I'm just really disappointed that a feud that we've been wanting since the moment Cody's music hit a couple of years ago at WrestleMania when he took on Seth Rollins has gone down this avenue. Randy doesn't need this stuff. Doesn't need it. He's a badass heel and a badass babyface. So, but that's just a frustration that I have. I think the match will slap. These two are going to put on a great match, and I think they have a point to prove. You said to me a couple of weeks ago, Dion, that you think these guys will want to show Cody and Roman and Punk that they are the true main event, and I think they'll have a point to prove on night one. But I just fear skullduggery. I feel so much skullduggery and smush, and I think we could have a bad taste in our mouth at the end of night one. I hope that's not the case.
So you're Randy and Randy?
Yes.
Okay. I enjoyed the build on this one before the Pat McAfee stuff came along. The feud, as we all know, does not need McAfee. We know there's so much history and legacy that could be tapped into, and a lot of it that hasn't been tapped into or even mentioned at all. But look, we've landed where we've landed. McAfee's great on the mic. I think he's actually doing a really good job. I am concerned that Randy Orton's taken a back seat in the last couple of weeks. I feel, and maybe this is Mr. Optimism in me, that the go-home SmackDown will turn that around and Orton will take center stage. He's got it, right? He has to take center stage. It's quite surreal to me how this whole angle's going down. I don't hate it. The timing to me is interesting. I do wonder when this call was actually made. Was this always the plan and we just had no idea? Was it a panicked plan? Is it actually about ticket sales and Ari Emanuel pushing his guy? Time will tell on that one, right? But if I suspend disbelief, how would I want Randy to win right now? Cody's going up against the corporate machine, notwithstanding the fact that tours on the Nightmare Bus 10K at WrestleMania, which Cody himself has said is a little bit ridiculous. Either way, come WrestleMania, it's going to be an incredible match. I'm really looking forward to it, but I think it will be remembered for how the finish goes down. I think there's a lot of currency in that finish. Is it going to be a banger and a classic, or is it going to be a banger that absolutely shat the bed because we're moving forward with whatever this angle goes down to? The last SmackDown that we saw, April 12 in the States, McAfee said, if Randy loses, I'll be gone for wrestling. Thanks for the spoiler, bro. There's no way that Randy loses now, because this must be something bigger, unless creative say let's just drop this, which I don't think they will. There's more to this storyline. So now I want Cody to win. 2 weeks ago, I wanted Randy to win. I want Cody to win. I think Randy will win, and the TKO storyline, or whatever that looks like, becomes a big story in 2026. And I hope something really special comes off. I'm a little bit optimistic about it, but there's a bit of the pessimist stuff.
It's interesting that you say that as well, because in the background, if Pat McAfee is to stick around, it is rumoured that the plan is going to be a tag team match with Pat McAfee and Randy Orton going up against Cody Rhodes and Jelly Roll at Backlash. Do we foresee, if Randy is to win and Pat is to stick around, that is a potential Backlash match that we are going to see go down?
Yeah. Happening. I mean, the sheets are reporting it. I know they're wrong half the time, but
it makes sense though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
it makes sense.
4 weeks out from WrestleMania, I'm booking this to me is pointing towards Jelly and Cody versus Randy and Randy and McAfee. And look, we're 5 weeks out from Backlash, so to me, this is exactly what's happening.
All right, let's move on to the Women's World Championship match. Stephanie Vaquer, the current champion, going up against Liv Morgan. Again, Court, let's start with you.
I've honestly really enjoyed the build-up to this feud within the last couple of weeks. I definitely think it has amplified, and it's definitely left the fans very excited, very intrigued, especially after what happened with that super physical angle we saw on Raw this week, where Stephanie pushed both Roxanne and Liv into each other. I don't know if you guys had seen the photos. They had huge goose eggs on their head. Such
Liv
a physical angle.
She's at Coachella as we speak, so she's all right. So
she's fine. Anything to miss Coachella, she wouldn't miss that. But my question that I kind of had when I saw that is, why would WWE do such a physical angle between these three ladies that could potentially cost that match if Liv was not in a cleared position after being in concussion protocol? That's besides the point. She looks fine to me right now. To be honest, I really would love to see Stephanie Vaquer defend the title and retain the title. I feel as though she definitely has a lot more that she needs to do and prove with this championship. There is a lot more matches I would like to see her potentially have with this championship. I think a big one we know that's looming in the background is a Rhea Ripley. That is definitely something I want to see. I think Stephanie is going to win, and I want to see her win, but I would not be surprised if we see some shenanigans in this match from the ladies of the Judgment Day, considering we don't necessarily know where Roxanne Perez stands with her alliance with Finn, because before we had a chance to hear her say her side was when Stephanie came in and attacked her. I know Raquel probably has some bad feelings still towards Liv about taking that opportunity for that title away, so I would not be surprised if we saw them potentially play a role in Liv maybe not gaining the championship and then further imploding the Judgment Day from within.
Nice one. Dave?
For me, I think it's going to be Liv Morgan who's walking out at the end of the night with the championship. In terms of what we've seen on TV, I hard to root against Stephanie Vaquer in terms of who I would like to see win. And again, like we're talking about, Stephanie Vaquer, she was the crown jewel champion. She should really be the focal point of the women's division, arguably. And yet, for certainly how I've interpreted it, this build has been focused a lot more on Liv Morgan than it has been on Stephanie. So I think Stephanie could probably use the win more in terms of solidifying her legacy, even though she has won the Crown Jewel Championship and she should be made. But if it's who's going to get the 1, 2, 3, I'm definitely leaning Liv Morgan.
Brad?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I want Stephanie Vaquer to win. Liv Morgan.
Wow, who is this guy?
And I'll get you why, but I think Liv Morgan will win. So I think Liv will win because I feel like there's still room to play out the Raquel-Liv tension. I mean, I think this whole thing's been miscast. I think Raquel should have been in this match in a triple threat or have beaten Stephanie when she had the opportunity. I think that would have been a bigger match, but that's not where we're at, right? So I think Liv will win because I think they want to build Raquel potentially. Well, one of them's going to end up being a pretty monstrous babyface when it's all said and done. I want Stephanie to win because she needs, and I know she won the Crown Jewel Championship, amazing, but she just needs that moment. And we all know that she is one of, if not the best workers in the company, behind Io Sky in terms of women's wrestling. And I just feel like she needs a moment, right? She needs that connection. The crowd love her, but she's more than just the devil's kiss, right? She's more than the Booker T. She's actually a phenomenal in-ring talent. And I think the match is going to be awesome from a storytelling standpoint. Liv's like the most improved wrestler in the last half decade, I think. Like she's tremendous. And I'm really looking forward to the match. I think the build's really heated up the last couple of weeks. It's definitely, there's some story to be told. But I really want Stephanie to win because she needs the moment more than Liv does, because Liv can survive a loss. What do we do with Stephanie if she loses this match?
Yeah, that's a great point. And it was only a few weeks ago that you were saying you felt that Liv deserves her WrestleMania moment, which of course she does. But really interesting that's where you landed. I think a lot of people will be with you on that. For me, it feels like this one's been overshadowed a little bit with everything else that's going on. It's been flying a little bit under the radar. The last couple of weeks, it seems to be picking up again just in time, right? But I really loved the early part of this feud. Remember that backstage segment when Liv had a go at, where Steph had a go at Liv when Dom was there, and that doubt in Liv's mind. I wish they'd played into that a little bit more. It seemed to it seemed like she found her mojo again pretty quickly. But I really liked that side of Liv because she is obviously a very confident individual, and having her have that doubt was just something just a little bit spicy and extra. She's clearly being protected, Steph, because of the language barrier. I know we're seeing a lot of these backstage promos, which I'm actually really enjoying.
And yet, have been good.
They've been really good, and I feel she's probably feverishly working at getting those skills up to date. I don't think she's a bad English language speaker by any stretch of the imagination. Her English is much better than my Spanish or my French, or insert 12 other languages, 100 other languages. But not being able to connect on the mic is very career limiting in WWE. Ask Ultimo Dragon. I think that'll turn around. Yes, interesting you say, Court, about Raquel and Roxanne. Judgment Day has always felt like one of those factions where no one can be trusted. You've got to be watching your back the whole time. Where do their loyalties lie? Do they lie with Liv at all? Will they even be involved in this match? And this is, by the way, a WrestleMania where there are so many people involved in every feud. It's not just the one-on-one or the tag team or whatever. There's a cast of characters, which I think works sometimes, and I think it's just a bit much other times. But for me, I want Steph to win. I think Liv will win. I don't think Liv will win if we have Judgment Day involved in some capacity, obviously, and in terms of costing her the championship or getting their revenge on them. Let's head to Seth versus Gunther. What an interesting one this is. Dave, let's start with you this time. Seth Rollins versus Gunther.
I think it's very interesting that this one has not been billed as if Seth Rollins loses, he must retire, because that's become the short-term gimmick of Gunther over the last few appearances. And so that, to me, would flag it up as a Gunther win. If not, why not put that stipulation on if Rollins was going to overcome? But they've done a good job here in that, this only materialized, in the last fortnight. It's very late on the road to WrestleMania, but I'm interested. I'm looking. I've got this one flagged up as perhaps one of the highlights of night one. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the two of them do. They're two incredible pro wrestlers, WWE superstars, whatever you want to say. But yeah, I think I'm leaning a Gunther win. I'm not really sure if I care too much which way. I'd probably Rollins if I'm pushed for who I would like, but really this one to me seems to be more about the bell-to-bell action more than anything else.
The point that you made about the career killer situation, that's something that Brad and I have been talking about a lot over the last few weeks. It's a little bit of a hole WWE might find themselves in because you can't do it all the time. We can't have every PLE match where Gunther is putting someone's career on the line. So they've got to find a balance here, which is why Ray kind of made sense, right? Then he was out because he was injured, but now Ray's back. And the ladder match, which we'll talk about later. But anyway, Brad's got a hot bit of intel from his workmate, right, Brad? Maybe we'll get into that.
Yeah, shout out to Kieran Bingham, who and look, the story here, and I think we saw the seeds of this sown on Raw, is that Gunther's ultimate goal is to retire Brock Lesnar in Minnesota at SummerSlam, right? So the story hasn't quite gone as Kieran Bingham, my boy from work, predicted, but he's pretty much on the money. So I think that's the favor that Paul's going to own Gunther. I'm kind of like Dave. Like, I actually don't care about the result because I think this match is going to be awesome. And I've said that about all three matches so far. I think night one from a wrestling standpoint is going to be great. And there's still a couple of awesome matches to come in that conversation. You cannot, under any circumstances, though, and this is why I think Gunther will win, have the dude who retired John Cena and AJ Styles less than 4 months ago lose at WrestleMania. Gunther cannot lose until it's like an Oberfemi, right? Like until it's for a world title or something like that. He must now win every single match that he has. And I think I would actually only have Gunther wrestle once a month or something, like protect this dude. But I think he will win. I want him to win because I want the John Cena match to actually mean something. And I also think at some point over the course of the two nights, we're going to see a John Cena Gunther, some sort of crossing paths in a back hallway or something like that. So I don't know. I'm kind of actually looking forward to that, to see if we'll see a human side of Gunther or if he's still an asshole. But I want and think Gunther will win this match.
Good point about the Cena stuff. That could be a bit of television gold. Court, what about you?
Honestly, this match for me it wasn't on my 2026 bingo card at all, but I am so glad that we have this match. We've had teasers of this match between Gunther and Seth before. We've had promo segments with them. We've had backstage segments with the two of them that have truly planted the seeds of excitement for me. I'm a huge Seth Rollins fan, and I really appreciate Gunther and the work that he does. A lot of people were complaining when this match kind of came together super quickly. Oh, it's got no build, but I don't necessarily think every single match on the WrestleMania card needs to have a 6 to 8 week build in order for you to be excited for it when it happens. I know fully well when the bell rings, it's going to be an absolute clinic of a match between these two. I feel as though that they can do no wrong. Seth Rollins is the modern day Mr. WrestleMania, and he has never failed to impress me on the biggest stage of them all. We saw the seeds get planted with Gunther and Paul Heyman on Raw. I do think that this is going to start a story. A lot of people say that WrestleMania is the culmination of a story, but it can also be the beginning of a story for the rest of the year. Yeah. And I feel this is where we're going to see Gunther's 2026 kind of start to unravel. And I'm in the same mind of Dave here. I really don't mind who wins this match. I think if, you're really wanting to continue to solidify Gunther as this career killer, as this super dominant force, you give him the win, and it's not going to hurt Seth Rollins in the process because he's got so much else he's going to be doing with the vision of, Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker comes back. So with this one, I want and think that Gunther is going to win. And it does hurt for me to say it as a certified Seth Rollins girly, but I can see the vision, pun intended.
Before you give your point out, Dion, do you guys believe there'll be a Bron Breakker involvement in this match?
Yeah, I do.
And will that take away from Gunther's win if that's the case? Because I'm a little bit icky, but I'd rather see Bron come down post-match and beat the crap out of Seth than actually inflict the result, if that makes sense.
Or would you want to save it? I just had an idea here. Would you want to save it for the Raw after WrestleMania? Because if cast our minds back to how the Vision formed.
Yes.
Bron joined him at the end of, the Raw after WrestleMania last year. And if you have it happen, the same time a year later, it's kind of that full circle moment.
Real good point. And I think you've just changed my mind on that because I thought I'd love to see it at WrestleMania, but Raw after Mania makes more sense. And it also lessens the amount of schmozzes and run-ins and shenanigans at Mania because we don't need every match to have a third
And Heyman
party.
will be involved in this somehow, whether he's at ringside or whatever. He will be part of this match in some capacity.
You have to feel for Seth though, don't you? I mean, the injury and then Bron getting injured himself, so Plan B got taken away. I think they've made the best of a bad situation though. I can't think of another. I mean, I'm sure there's probably a dozen ideas we could come up with for Seth and Gunther, but it feels like they've landed on a pretty good middle ground. Yeah. I do want Seth to win. I think this could be the beginning of his Vision Revenge tour. I think Gunther will win though. And I'm really looking forward to this match. That's about all I've got to say about this one.
Boom.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying in terms of it's the best of a bad situation. There's people complaining about this match being booked, and then there would have been people complaining that Gunther and Seth aren't on the card. And so I feel as though it's a juggling act that WWE has hopefully landed in a really good spot, and featuring them both on the card is only going to make night one feel more special and maybe even give us match of the night.
And guys, we have no idea about the medical situation of Bron Breakker. Only WWE does. And for all we know, they could have been told, hey, he may be good to go, or he may not be. And maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, they got the word that he wasn't good to go. So at that point, they have to pivot, which is why Gunther and Ray was kind of buried. And look, reports have come out that Ray wasn't actually that keen to have Gunther retire him. He wants that to be his son, which I think actually makes a ton of sense. And we actually saw Dominic last week say, I've got another plan in store for my dad. So I wonder if that's where that's pointing to. But yeah, at the end of the day, we don't know what the medical situation is with Bron, and he may or may not be cleared.
Exactly.
Talk about gimmick infringement, Dom retiring Ray. I don't know if Gunther's going to be terribly happy about that.
But he has to prove that he's the greatest Mysterio of all time. How can you let him do that if he doesn't retire his dad? I feel like that's just that's illegal. We can't have that happen.
He best be winning that Money in the Bank, but that's for another podcast.
Another conversation.
Yeah.
All right, let's turn to the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. AJ Lee defending the IC title. We never thought we'd be saying that a year ago, against Becky Lynch. Brad, let's start with you.
Looking forward to this. I do question why we needed a one-on-one between these two at Elimination Chamber, where you could have involved Natty and Maxine potentially in a fatal four-way, and Natty's kind of been just cast to the side, and she was actually becoming interesting for the first time in a decade. But I guess they wanted to give AJ that moment. I think Becky wins this, and I want her to win it, despite the fact I'm a massive AJ Lee mark. And I think she's done phenomenally well in the short sample size we've seen of her. Becky brings the best out of her in the ring as well. And look, I really think Becky can make the Intercontinental title, and she does, important. And it's got me thinking of what would be next after this. How about Io Sky versus Becky Lynch at Backlash? So let's head towards that and make the Intercontinental title the wrestler's title, right? So I think Becky deserves the moment. She's 0-3 against AJ. AJ absolutely does not need to win this match. And I think I don't even have a problem with a handshake at the end of it. Like, I don't know, but I just, I want and think Becky will win this because of what the Intercontinental title should mean. And Becky's done a great job of establishing it as important. And the build for this has been really good. It's been short and sweet. I thought the stuff on Raw was excellent with the Michael Cole sit down and then Becky jumps in there and then AJ plants massive seeds in Becky's head. And yeah, I've really enjoyed this storyline from WrestlePalooza to now.
Yeah, great segment that. Dave, what about you?
Yeah, I think a lot more options coming out of WrestleMania should Becky Lynch win the championship rather than if AJ Lee is to retain. I mean, we don't even know if AJ will be sticking around or if this was sort of a short-term run and WrestleMania is the end of things there. So yeah, I'm predicting that Becky Lynch takes the title back, and I think that's what I want as well, despite the fact that she's a heel in the feud. It just seems it opens things up considerably more heading into the rest of the year.
And Court.
Oh man, I am absolutely fizzing for this match. I love Becky Lynch. I don't know if you guys know anything about me, but she's my girl. I love her so much, and I love her as a heel and as a face, and I do really feel as though she has definitely done a lot to make that Intercontinental Championship feel like a huge title, sometimes even bigger than the Women's World Championship in terms of gravity on the main roster. I do kind of wish that they had have added a stipulation to this match. I would have loved to see them bring in the conversation of, well, if you lose, you can no longer challenge for the title. I feel as though that would have been a really good foil, especially in Becky Lynch's situation, considering she put that stipulation on Lyra Valkyria when she won the title from her at Money in the Bank. I think this match is going to be really good. I agree in terms of Becky Lynch brings out a lot in AJ's in-ring performance. They do work really well together. I do want to see Becky Lynch win, and I do think she is going to win, mainly just because I'm not 100% certain if we're going to see AJ on a continued basis after WrestleMania. I think if we kind of had a little bit more of an understanding as to where her contract status lies and how many appearances she has, maybe that would make me sway more towards her winning and maybe having matches against, Roxanne Perez and Liv Morgan and all that kind of stuff. But I think for right now, I feel as though Becky is a really solid pick, and I think, yeah, she definitely is going to absolutely execute at WrestleMania. I cannot wait to see it go down.
That's a really interesting point. If we did know the contract status, I wonder if our thoughts of how this match would go down would completely change.
AJ doesn't need a belt, man. You can just plot her into feuds with different talent at any point, be it at a SummerSlam or a Survivor Series or whatever. So yeah.
Agreed.
Becky needs this one big time.
Totally, big time.
Big time,
this one's going to be fun. I think it's going to be one of the more enjoyable matches throughout the whole weekend. Is my prediction. It is a shame, like you said, that the two squared off at Elimination Chamber. Brad, I think the match would have felt much bigger if this was their first showdown.
But I think
not that it's not a big match.
Good is this match feels like must win for Becky because they've painted that picture, right? So in another sense, I can see that. And AJ's first WrestleMania in over a decade. So, but I agree. I'm not convinced they needed to do that, but like Becky needs this more, and it feels big. This feels like a big match.
And it feels personal too, because must we remember AJ Lee continually brings up how, Becky's daughter's favourite wrestler is AJ Lee. And if it was me and I was Becky and seeing my daughter skip around the house singing Let's Light It Up, I'd be doing everything in my power to take her down.
I'd love to see on Raw some sort of backstage segment where there's a photo of Becky's daughter wearing AJ Lee's shirt or something. That'd be awesome.
Becky needs to pack that child's bags and kick her out of the house. Unacceptable. I don't know if AJ winning the championship has actually served her at all or served Becky at all, with Becky having to chase, but I mean, that's maybe overthinking.
We got a sweet match with Bayley, so that was good.
We did.
Yeah. I'm hoping we do see more of AJ in the future, but like you guys, I'm not convinced that we will. Going to be a fun match. I do hope Becky wins. I think she will win. That said, if she doesn't, it's not like Becky Lynch is in trouble. She is. It feels to me that this whole Intercontinental Championship situation is a way that we can have Becky tied up without muddying the waters of the World Championship picture, because that's where she needs to be. That's where she fits very nicely. So maybe she'll get another run with this IC Championship just to keep her on a heater until maybe SummerSlam.
And I just want Io Sky versus Becky in a meaningful feud, please.
I just want Io Sky on the WrestleMania card. I don't know if that's too much to ask for, guys.
Apparently it is. Which takes us to this one, the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match, the Fatal 4-Way. Brad, we've got Nia Jax and Lash Legend, the champs, against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria versus the Bella Twins. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, after seeing how the Jade Rhea feud has played out, and Rio's not on WrestleMania, why did they take the titles off Rio anyway? Because you could have had Tiffany Stratton put into the Jade Cargill spot, right? So, look, there is rumors that the Kabuki Warriors are on standby for this if Nikki Bella does not pass a fitness test in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, probably the women's match I have the least interest in over the course of the build. And that's not the fault of the people involved, because I like most of the people involved. I want Bayley and Lyra to win, but I think they won't, because I'm wondering if the plan here is to turn Lyra Valkyria heel and sort of reverse what happened last year. And that there's all this prediction around Bayley turning into this venomous woman, but Lyra's kind of not interesting. She's a phenomenal talent. I love her. I like watching her wrestle. She's very, very good. But yeah, I think she could add an edge as a heel and almost maybe side with Becky and say, Becky, you were right all the time. So I'm hoping that that's the angle they're going. I think that Lash and Nia are going to win, because I think WWE is in the Lash Legend bucket, and I think they'll stay there and give her probably the highlight of this. So I want Bayley and Lyra to win, but I also don't, because I'm kind of hoping that that's where they're going with a Lyra heel turn, because Bayley would be predictable. And yeah, they've kind of moved away from tension between Charlotte and Alexa, so I don't think there's a plan there. I'm leaning, if the Bella Twins are in it, maybe they win. See, I just don't know, because, like...
Nobody does.
Because it's just a match that, I mean, they need to make these tag titles mean more, right? And so keep the titles on a dominant team like Nia and Lash.
Fair call. Now, Courtney, my spidey senses are tingling. I get a feeling that maybe you would have taken a bit of interest in the whole Bayley and Lyra story that was just framed by Brad. Do you have some thoughts on that?
I find it very interesting that you're wanting Lyra to be the one to turn heel, because I never kind of thought of that in my mind. Not that it's a bad thing. I think back to last year, and obviously this was when her and Bayley were going to go for the tag titles, and then Bayley got taken out and Becky came in. So this is the second year in a row that she's challenging for the titles. I'm almost thinking, does Lyra almost have like a sense of doubt that history is going to repeat itself and she's going to find herself without a partner, and maybe she wants to do that and be the one to take out Bayley to stop that opportunity. I'm in two minds about this match. I'm interested because it's the women's tag titles. We've got some great teams, we've got some great women, but then at the same time, WWE hasn't really given me a reason to get invested in all four of the teams potentially winning it. And as Brad said, this is not the fault of any of the women. We've just had segments repeat week after week where two of the teams are facing off, and then the other teams come down and cause a disqualification and get into a brawl. And while that's fun for the first maybe 2 weeks, it hasn't really given us any investment as to why Alexa want to re-challenge for the titles, or why the Bellas have come back and want to actually gain the championships they never truly had the chance to win. So it just makes it quite hard to see the landscape and where everyone truly falls in it.
And I think if Rhea and Io were involved, we would care more, because they would have been this dominant team from when did they win the titles? Maybe August, September last year. It would mean more.
Yeah.
I think that's been a misstep. And I guess Bianca Belair's injury probably had a lot to do with that. But seeing that Tiffany has nothing to do, that's where I'm like, well, why didn't you just put Tiffany in that spot?
Exactly. I agree. I definitely think that it's almost like one big domino's kind of fallen, and we've had to see a lot of puzzle pieces change for WrestleMania to truly kind of fit in. I do feel as though maybe the Bellas might win this. It just depends on Nikki's status, if she's able to come in and if the Kabuki Warriors come in, as a standby team. But I would really like to see Nia Jax and Lash Legend continue their reign. I think they have a great prodigy in Lash Legend. Her forearm strike is absolutely wild. I feel it coming through the screen and hitting me when I'm watching it. Doesn't normally happen with anybody else. But I would like to see that dominant team really continue their pursuit with the championships. And I know they'll probably break up at some point, but for now we've got a really good thing with the team.
David, just before we get to you, I've got my pen. Charlexa. I like that.
Is it David's favourite team?
Well, I just like it. Charlexa sounds great.
Yeah.
David Dunn, thoughts?
I've been surprised by how much I've enjoyed Nia Jax and Lash Legend in the build-up to WrestleMania. I thought
they've been great.
It's going to be a thrown-together team that are just treading water to
Nia's hilarious.
To someone else. And yeah, they've really blown away the expectations I had for them, and I find myself probably hoping for them to retain at WrestleMania, which is not a position I would have thought I'd be in earlier in the year. That said, I don't know if you can see in the frame, but I've got the Bella Twins Total Divas mounted on my wall there. So if the Bellas can get it done, certainly wouldn't be opposed to that. But yeah, I echo the sentiment that perhaps, this is just sort of the other women's match on the card where we're really not as invested as we could be had we had Rhea and Io, or even if the Kabuki Warriors do wind up being part of it. It just, it's the build hasn't hit for me the same as some of the other matches on the card. So probably rooting for the champs to retain. And I guess maybe thinking they will as well, but I'm certainly not as invested as I have been for other matches thus far.
Yeah, there was also some conversation around when, Lash Legend joined Nia Jax as a tag team. People were saying, well, it was only a couple of months ago they were facing off on NXT together, but I saw that as a case of if you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah.
Right? Two dominant forces are stronger in the division than one. I think it's really helping Lash to come out of her shell, especially in her first rookie year on the main roster. And Nia Jax is kind of endearing herself to people. As you said before, Brad, she's hilarious. She's really funny. She's actually got a really good story behind her. And if you allow her that opportunity to kind of show her character, you can almost root for her in a sense as well.
I was really excited by the women's tag division until Rio lost the championship. And then I completely lost interest. So for me, this is a filler match. Again, I like the talent on the card, but like you folks have alluded to, I think there's not enough emotional investment from me into why I want any of these teams to win. I'm sure the match will be fine. I think the only interesting thing that could come out of this for me is Charlexa and whether they break up. Again, I feel like the opportunity's been missed, and that's cooled off a little bit, and it probably won't happen. But maybe it is time to pull the trigger on that one. I do want Nia and Lash to win, to serve Lash, just to build her legacy. Nia, I'm not a huge fan of her ring work at all, but she's got incredible charisma, and she can use that to continue the build of Lash until the eventual breakup of these two, whenever that may be. But I think the Bellas are probably going to win, right? I mean, it feels like WWE booking. You bring the Bellas in, they go, we really want the tag titles. And you say, well, there you go. Now it's part of your legacy. Look, if they do, it'll be a fun moment. I hope they don't. If they do, I'll be happy for them. Whatever.
It's interesting that you talk about Charlexa and they're not mentioning, the reason as to like what happened at the Royal Rumble and the potential continual breakup of that. I would have really loved to see a backstage segment between Charlotte and Alexa where they were talking about that moment and Charlotte being vulnerable about that and kind of how, I didn't mean to do that and I really don't want this to cause issues in our friendship, and then maybe see them kind of settle that for now, and then maybe Alexa uses it against Charlotte at the biggest moment for both of them. We know how important WrestleMania is for the Flairs and how Charlotte has had such an illustrious career, especially at WrestleMania. She's incredibly dominant. I would have loved to see something like that. So the fans can see something is going to happen. We just don't know when she's going to strike.
And it feels like WWE have pivoted from that because that was building from the start. And they've just kind of gone, actually, we kind of like these two together. So we're not, and they've gone away from that tension building. So,
and the fans do too. Like, if you were to tell me this time last year, people would be cheering, we want Charlotte in that tag team match at Evolution, I would have said, you're lying. Because as long as I've known Charlotte Flair, she's been hated in the eyes of the WWE Universe. But her getting paired up with Alexa has endeared her to the audience and has allowed her to show a more vulnerable side of her. And actually, you can see that she's enjoying herself. And I think a way that you could have done this is, people were predicting that it was Charlotte that was going to turn on Alexa. How about you let the storyline get to the point where Charlotte's truly let her guard down? She's opened up to Alexa. She truly feels like she is her long-lost sister, her best friend. And then she's the one who gets the turn on her by Alexa.
Please.
Because people won't be expecting that. People know Charlotte to be a heel, but if you've seen that she's truly opened herself up to this friendship and she's then turned on, that's a fantastic match in the making and a feud if they decide to do it.
One more prediction, Dion.
Yes.
Charlotte Flair will win the award for Best Dressed. I think she's going to have some sort of immaculate outfit. She always does look immaculate. And she's my prediction for Best Ring Gear because Tiffany's not involved in Mania this year. So,
yeah.
Do you know whose ring gear will be interesting this year? Seth Rollins. So I can actually see near the end of this match, Charlotte crawling over to make the tag to Alexa, and we do the classic. Alexa drops off the ring apron.
Rick Martel style.
Yells something, heads back down the iron. Yeah. I'd love to see that.
Alexa has to be the heel in that feud because she needs it. But anyway.
Yeah. All right, let's get on to the free shows, the free matches. The unsanctioned match, Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre. Court, let's start with you.
This is a very interesting one for me because I'm thinking now the fact that Drew was champion potentially going into WrestleMania and everything we've seen go on with Pat McAfee and Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, I honestly feel as though Drew really got the short end of the stick there, being able to go into WrestleMania as the champion, finally having that moment. And whether he won or lost, he still would have had a huge WrestleMania moment. I've also just really enjoyed this entire angle with him and Jacob. I feel like it's not at the level of the CM Punk and Drew from Hell in a Cell, but you can tell they don't like each other. You can tell that there's true hatred there. And sometimes that's all you need for a story is two people who don't like each other, put them in the ring and truly just allow them to go at it. In this case, they might go all the way around Las Vegas. We don't know that yet. It's unsanctioned. I feel as though maybe Jacob really does need this win. I can see that WWE has been giving Drew the upper hand in the vignettes and in the segments and the beatdown angle we just saw on SmackDown last night. I do feel like it serves Jacob best for him to win this. There is conversations about Drew going to film a movie after this is all said and done, so he might be gone for a couple of months. I'd love to see Jacob screw Drew in this sense.
David?
Yeah, I've got a real soft spot for Drew McIntyre. Going all the way back to COVID, he was the face of the company in uncertain times throughout the world. And every week you'd turn on your TV screen and you didn't know what was going to happen, but you knew that you'd see Drew McIntyre, and he was the WWE champion, and he was sort of, I've got a real attachment to him for that period of time. And so I feel like he's been hard done by in the build up to this WrestleMania. He gets the WWE Championship after chasing for what felt like forever, and then he gets the rug pulled out from under him, and he's back here in this position. But then that said, Jacob Fatu is so exciting, really stands out on the WWE roster, I'd say, compared to almost any of the other characters. There's just something really unique about Fatu, and strap the rocket to him. Let's push this guy all the way to the top of the card, all the way to the championship. So I think it's a Jacob Fatu win, and I think I'm leaning towards wanting a Jacob Fatu win, but the only caveat being that this is an unsanctioned match, so perhaps it doesn't fully count towards their records, and McIntyre isn't knocked too far back down the rankings.
Brad?
Drew should be bottled up and shown as the perfect example of what a WWE superstar is. The guy is phenomenal. I don't know when his contract's up, but WWE needs to sign that guy up for the next 10 years. He is someone you can slot in anywhere, and he's the MVP of that program. I've really enjoyed this build, guys. I think it's been one of the best builds of the Mania season. These guys Jacob Fatu's proven himself in the last 2 months to me as a genuine top guy. And, you know, my thoughts, Dion, I think that he's a future world champion, a future WrestleMania main eventer. He can cut a promo. He's believable. He's a badass. He's got the crowd behind him. And I think he wins, and I want him to win because, like, Drew has proven that he can survive. He can survive losing titles. He can survive losing feuds. He just comes out the next week and just basically ignores it and moves on to the next side quest. So, yeah, I think this match will be awesome. I just hope at some point we can find out who attacked Jacob Fatu backstage. Like, please, can we get I'm hoping it's Sami Zayn. But look, let's see how that all happens. But yeah, like and Solo Sikoa brought it up right on SmackDown where he said, you know, you still don't know who knocked your teeth out. So they haven't given up on that storyline, and they've given up on a few more. So but love Jacob, love Drew. I can't wait for this match. It's one of the matches I'm looking forward to the most. I think it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be all over Las Vegas. They might even see Dion on camera if they come over to your section of the crowd, mate. So.
Mate, Jacob Fatu, an angry Jacob Fatu. Do you think I'm going to stick around? I am gone. I'm off to the bar.
Something crazy is happening in this match. Something crazy. I don't know if it's going to be a moonsault off the WrestleMania stage or something, but something crazy is happening in this to potentially write Drew off TV for a bit. So I'm looking forward to this. And this hopefully is the start of Jacob's ascension to a world title in the next 12 months.
Yeah. This is one of the best builds, I think, for any of these matches because it's uncomplicated. It's just two dudes that hate each other, that want to beat each other up.
It's brilliant.
You know?
Yeah.
We need a bit more of that. I think there's been too many convoluted storylines. Convoluted is good sometimes, but not where it's damn near every match. Court?
I was just going to say, I feel like sometimes when we see someone finally gain a championship and we're really excited for them, Drew McIntyre in this case, sometimes when they drop the title, the person becomes less interesting. Not with Drew.
No, it never does.
I feel as though Drew is a ready-made superstar whether he has the championship or not. He can carry a feud with or without a title. I think this is, while it's not great that he's dropped the title this close to WrestleMania, I do think that this is serving him better for his character because it continues to show him that when he finally gets that moment, he gets screwed out of it somehow. It's continuing with his story that he's had going. And I just think he's one of the most interesting characters on SmackDown that we have on a week-to-week basis. I find myself thinking, I can't wait to see what Drew's going to say this week. What's Drew's vignette going to be? Was completely shocked when he was in prison yesterday, basically alluding to that, you know, being Jacob. But he's got my interest, and I think that's why I'm really excited for this match to go down.
I like how they lean into Jacob Fatu's former incarceration and that he's seemingly so cool with it. I think it does add an interesting dimension to who he is as a person and why he is the way he is in the ring. I do wonder how Drew feels, though, not having this WWE Championship moment, having the championship taken away in WrestleMania season. And look, who knows how long the whole McAfee thing was planned for, if it was in the works for a long time. Obviously, Randy versus Drew wouldn't have been a good platform for it. But look, I think I want Drew to win. I think he deserves that pat on the back. It does make more sense, though, for Jacob to get the win, and I think he will. So just like Lash Legend, we want Jacob to be getting that sort of the building of the legacy. And a WrestleMania win against Drew McIntyre is going to go a huge way in doing that for Jacob. We have one more match left on Saturday, and that is a 6-man tag team match. Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and IShowSpeed versus the Usos and LA Knight. David, what you got?
We've sort of been hot and cold on some of the celebrity involvement in the build to WrestleMania this year, but Speed is just a perfect fit. And I know he's been around for a while now, so it's sort of different to some of the first timers who are showing their head. But yeah, Speed has been he taken to wrestling like a duck to water, or any simile of your choice there. So it's great to see him involved. I have no problem with him being involved. That said, I do think he'll be on the losing side. We needed to get LA Knight on this card. We needed to get Jey Uso on this card. And I think this match is all about those two. And it'll be a win for the Usos and LA Knight. I'm not sure who's going to get the pin. Perhaps there's some perhaps they won't be the most cohesive team there, as each man looks for their WrestleMania moment. But yeah, I'm hoping for a win for the good guys here.
Brad.
Genius to put this on the free show with IShowSpeed's worldwide reach. And imagine he just goes on YouTube 10 minutes before he goes out, hey guys, watch me wrestle. And there are going to be lots of numbers on this. I'm not, and I agree with Dave. I think IShowSpeed's been really well cast. It's been hilarious. He's had a good sparring partner in LA Knight, who's actually been really good in the last couple of weeks. I think it's been a lot of fun. But I'm not convinced that the baby faces are winning this. And I think that there's more in the story around Jey Uso and the dissension he has with LA Knight. Does he really want to be tag teaming with them or not? So they've teased a heel turn for some time now. We can't have like 47 heel turns on one card, but I would like to see some friction played out and potentially Knight taking the pin off an IShowSpeed or something like that. I know that the internet wrestling community will be up in arms because LA Knight takes another loss, but or LA causes a loss for Jey. But yeah, I think it would be awesome to see IShowSpeed get some sort of fluke pinfall over either Jey Uso or LA Knight. And WWE is all about making moments and getting headlines. What bigger headline than a YouTube star pins former WWE champion? So I kind of want and think that the Vision and IShowSpeed are going to win this match. And it's the match my son's looking forward to the most as well.
Oh, wow. Court, where do you sit on this one?
I find it really interesting with this one. The Vision has kind of looked like they've remained looking very strong the last couple of weeks leading into this. It kind of makes me think, is the babyface team going to come out and find a way to win? My biggest question is Danhausen going to get involved in this match? Because we know that IShowSpeed has been cursed by him. Is he going to maybe remove the curse and then, IShowSpeed's going to get the win in a crazy way? Or is the curse going to continue and then we continue to see the demise of IShowSpeed? He's definitely been one of the celebrities I've really enjoyed seeing because I feel like you can tell that he's just being himself. And it's not that, he's well versed to the wrestling business, but you can just tell there's like a genuine level of authenticity with what he does. And he wants to do well. And also we remember the spear he took last year from Braun Breaker. That in itself gave me all the levels of respect for him. I've really enjoyed him being a part of this. I would love to see the babyface team get the win. That's who I want to see. But obviously after conversations we've had now, I could probably see the Vision getting the win here. Maybe IShowSpeed pins Jimmy Uso, and then we continue to see the fallout between Jey and LA Knight because, they weren't there to protect Jimmy in this situation. It's a great match to, have on the free show. I definitely think it's going to bring in people to hopefully stick around for the rest of WrestleMania Night 1.
Yeah, I've loved his involvement as well, his IShowSpeed. We've got a lot of celebrities involved, right? Jelly Roll, Pat McAfee, Lil Yachty. I think the difference with Speed, though, is he's not coming into this world of professional wrestling trying to be a tough guy. No. He's been the accidental bystander that cost the Usos the tag team championship, and try as he might, he can't talk his way out of the situation. This isn't going to be a WrestleMania classic. It will be a fun match. I think the Usos and LA Knight are going to win. I want them to win, and I wonder if Speed's going to redeem himself and cost the Vision the victory. And the last thing we see at the end of this match is the Usos, LA Knight, and IShowSpeed raising each other's arms. I can see that going down. Yeah. Let's move to Sunday. Cool. We're finally here. WrestleMania Sunday. We'll kick off with the main event. Court, we'll start with you. The World Heavyweight Championship. CM Punk is your champion versus Roman Reigns.
I have really enjoyed the build up to this. I really have. I love how straight after the Royal Rumble, Roman was not messing around. He's like, I'm going after you, not because I want the title, but because I hate you. It really just showed me that between last year's WrestleMania, where we had the triple threat with Seth Rollins involved, that his feelings towards Punk haven't changed. There's been so much that's gone down in the last year with all three of those guys that it's interesting that Roman's perspective on Punk hasn't changed. He still has that deep hatred for him, and that's why he's going after him. There's been moments throughout this feud where, we've had some really great promo segments with them that have just been top notch. And then Roman's been missing for a couple of weeks and Punk's had to carry the storyline. But in the last couple of weeks, I've really enjoyed seeing what we've had. Punk's promo on Raw this week was absolutely fantastic. I can't fault anything he said. It's absolutely incredible. Him calling out Pat McAfee, calling out TKO was just absolute cherry on top of the cake. I want Punk to win. I really, really do. I've loved his World Heavyweight Championship reign. If we can continue with the CM Punk that we saw on Monday Night Raw for the rest of his title run, I feel like that's an absolute win. The fans have been really wanting to see that aggressive CM Punk we know and love. But I just can't help but feel like WWE might fall on safety nets when it comes to putting the title back on Roman. It just depends on, very similar to AJ Lee, kind of what his contract status looks like, if he's going to be making appearances more often. But I just can't help but feel like they might want to put the title on Roman. So my want is Punk, but I think it could be an OTC win here.
Dave?
Yeah, pretty solid argument from Courtney there. That it does seem like in the big stage, on the big moments, WWE does default back to Roman Reigns winning a world championship. I'm a long-time CM Punk fan. I have enjoyed CM Punk in the build to this match. I do feel like CM Punk's been the MVP in the build to this match, but and he probably does need it more, which is strange to say about it. A defending world champion and a full-time as opposed to a part-time member of the roster. But so there's something sort of in the hierarchy of WWE that Roman Reigns is this huge overbearing figure. And so CM Punk could probably do with the win more, especially with it being his first, you can argue, obviously, they were part of a main event last year, but we all know that the last match on the last day of it. Yeah. This is probably CM Punk gets a main event. We've seen Roman Reigns have many a main event. Many of them I've seen live. Many of them I did not enjoy that much, unfortunately. But so it would be great to see CM Punk come away with the win as the closing moment of this year's WrestleMania. But I'm hesitant to say that it will happen because more often than not, it's Roman Reigns at WrestleMania raising the championship.
Brad?
100% want CM Punk to win this match. Now, that's just because he's my favorite wrestler right now. But as far as what I think, the Pat McAfee promo that Punk cut on him last week has me confused about why did they want Punk to involve himself in the storyline where he probably didn't actually need to. And I know he was cutting the pipe bomb stuff. And I now have a fear that that Roman's turning corporate rock type heel from Survivor Series 98, I think it was, at the end of WrestleMania, and The Rock's involved in the storyline, and he's the ultimate puppet master, and we potentially have two corporate champions coming out of Mania, and Randy Orton and Roman Reigns, because the more you look at it, the more they're intertwining this whole storyline between shows, and I don't know how I feel about that. And I can't see them not ending WrestleMania with some sort of swervy bang storyline or something. And you guys are right. They love to lean on Roman, and if he becomes champ, they can play him as the heel. And he's I think he'll make a better champ as a heel than a babyface, because then you can play into the I only show up when I want to. If he is a babyface champ, he's probably going to end up getting booed because the heels can go, Roman's never here, and they'll be right. So I think there's more options for Roman as a heel champ, and I think he's just a better heel than a babyface anyway. He cuts great heel promos, and I think Punk plays the heel throughout the entire match, and then there's some sort of swervy finish. I don't know if The Rock's going to be involved, but some sort of corporate ending. And it'll be similar to Survivor Series 88 when we got corporate Rock as the champ. And I think the show ends with Roman as champion, with a couple of Hollywood people in the ring with him. Don't know who that is. And maybe that ends up being our storyline through to Mania 43 in Saudi, when the storyline is apparently going to be Rock and Roman, which I don't know if I want to see either. But yeah, really, really, really want CM Punk to win this. But my mind's been muddied by the magnificent promo that Punk cut on Raw. But why did he get involved in the McAfee stuff? Why are they intertwining that? McAfee calls him out again last night. So that has me worried, and that's why I'm leaning towards a heel Roman at the end of the show winning the title.
I just had an out-of-body experience. I'm there at WrestleMania Sunday, and I'm cursing you, Brad Lewis, because I'm like, why is Timothy Chalamet in the ring? This makes no sense. What are we doing here? Brad.
Well, I mean, to be honest, he'd probably rather be at WrestleMania because he doesn't like the ballet, he doesn't like the opera, so he might like to be at WrestleMania. He's a big fan of Batista, from what I've heard.
You could be right. I'm hopeful that this will be a WrestleMania classic. I think it will be, but like I alluded to earlier, I think a lot of it will come down to the finish.
Yeah.
That's what we remember. So if it's a schmoz, we could well wish this one never happened.
I'm down
and I
for,
fear it could
on
be a
that though,
schmoz.
Dion, I'm down for a clean Roman win, and then the corporate stuff happens afterwards. Like, you don't have to have the corporate, if that's the way they're going with this. I agree with you. We need a clean winner out of this, and maybe Roman goes to shake his hand, kicks him in the nuts, and then all the schmoz happens afterwards. But I agree. This match needs a clean finish with the way that it's been built.
Yeah,
Can you see the Usos getting involved? They've been involved in the lead up to this. I mean, their match is night 1, and this is obviously night 2.
So many Samoans will be involved in this match.
Are all the Samoans going to get C-level titles, though? We're going to CEO, COO, CIO. They're all going to be involved with the TKO. I think we see too many Samoans involved.
Punk yet. And was it the promo that Roman cut maybe last month where I give all Samoans in the world permission to beat up Punk until WrestleMania? We haven't seen any Samoan involved since that promo. Punk even alluded to it a couple of weeks ago when he said, "No Samoans have attacked me."
He just says stuff, though. He just says stuff. Do you know what this... I've got a feel-good factor for this match because this feels like the WrestleMania 8 match that we never got. You imagine if we never got a Punk and a Roman Reigns. That would feel like a travesty, right? We never got Hogan Flair on the WrestleMania stage, so I am glad that we are getting it. Dude, I'm not going to be surprised if anything goes down in this one, from run-ins to what you suggest with the whole corporate thing. All I know is I'm really looking forward to this match. And then I'm split because I'm a CM Punk guy. I'd love to see him win. I'd love to see him get, again, like you said, David, the real WrestleMania moment and a victory at that WrestleMania moment. But I do like the idea of Roman being involved if he's going to be here longer term, just to try and recapture some of that magic from pre-WrestleMania 40. I'm not convinced that we can recapture it, though maybe this whole TKO thing does form part of that. So at the moment, I think Reigns is going to win. I want Punk to win. Let's see what happens. Let's move to the Women's Championship match. Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. Who's got the biggest rant on this one? Who's going to be the most angry? I kind of feel like it's going to be Brad.
I haven't
I feel
enjoyed
like we're
Brad.
all equally levels of maybe disappointed, but I think Brad is really good at getting his feelings out in a really nice way, unlike myself with his F-bombs and S-bombs and,
Let's twist the cap off the bottle. Where you go, Brad?
I love Rhea Ripley, and I'm quite partial to Jade Cargill, but this has been horrible. And it's been horrible from the moment Jade won the title. She didn't defend it for, I think, 100 odd days or something. Had a couple of Mickey Mouse matches here. Then we get this random stuff where Meechin and B-Fab are with her. I did actually predict the B-Fab heel turn. I didn't think Meechin would come with, but whatevs. And man, this has just been so bad. And I actually, the more I think about it, I kind of want and think Jade Cargill's going to win. I don't like. I don't know why. I've changed my mind in the last week or so. Because otherwise she looks so weak, like having this new faction and then they lose on their first big match. And yeah, like, can Rhea survive a loss to Jade Cargill at WrestleMania? Absolutely. Can Jade Cargill survive losing a title she's defended once or maybe twice against, Rhea Ripley? I don't think she can. And I don't know if maybe behind the scenes they've given up on her, but this has just been so bad. And that's been a real shame to me. And I don't know if this was the original plan. In fact, I don't think it was. I wonder if Bianca was the plan all along and she just never recovered from the broken fingers. But this just hasn't been good. And I think Rhea probably knows that. And guys, she's a phenomenal wrestler. And she's had some of the best WrestleMania matches we've ever seen. I mean, the last 3 Manias. Becky Lynch was a great match. She had a phenomenal triple threat last year, and her match with Charlotte arguably was the best match of the weekend the year before that. So I think she'll do her best to bring the best out of Jade. But yeah, the more and more I think about it, the more I want and think Jade's going to win just because of the way the storyline's gone. But yeah, I'm not invested in this in any way. And Rhea's like one of my favorite talents across both men's and women's wrestling.
Yeah. Dave?
Yeah, look, absolutely. It's sort of a 1 and a 1A situation between Rhea Ripley and Toni Storm for who's the biggest female star in the industry. Arguably, even regardless of gender, those two could be sort of top 5 level on their own. But to that point, Rhea almost feels too big or beyond the championship. We touched on it earlier with the idea of, did AJ Lee need the Intercontinental Championship? It's sort of, for my money, the same thing here. That you're right, Brad. If Jade Cargill doesn't win this match, it buries her. She's done. Whereas if Rhea doesn't win this match, well, Rhea can come out and be the same level star the next night, championship or not, because she's ascended beyond those things. So this is really make or break for Jade Cargill here. I do feel like this build, probably we were hoping for Bianca Belair to be cleared to come back to wrestle Jade Cargill. That seems like it would make a lot more sense. Then Rhea Ripley could have been doing something with Io Sky. That would have made a lot more sense. But we're here now with Rhea and Jade, and yeah, I don't think Rhea needs the win. I think if Jade doesn't get the win, then she's labeled a choke artist. She's done. It's catastrophic for Jade Cargill to lose this.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I'm predicting a Jade Cargill win, and I'm hoping for it because I don't see where she goes if she loses.
Good point. Court?
Oh, man, look, this feud is one that I have wanted and dreamt of ever since Jade Cargill joined WWE. I saw her join, and my first thought was, Rhea Ripley, Jade Cargill, WrestleMania, book it, make it happen. One of the biggest mistakes is they haven't built up Jade from when she won this title all the way up until now to make her truly feel like a formidable force. Like she's dominant. No one can beat her, right? And then also, with that being said, the biggest mistake when this match got made was WWE not truly leaning into the online beef that they were forming for the storyline.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw a lot of what was said, but there was a lot of conversation about Rhea potentially going to creative and pushing certain storylines.
Yeah.
And Rhea was going to Jade and saying, don't slander my name like that. And then the next week they go on SmackDown, your muscles are bigger than mine, but I'm built for fighting. Like, I love them. And I thought the promo was great with what they were given, but they truly just missed that opportunity to continue that beef that they'd started online and actually make this feud incredibly personal. And if they had have continued that, we might even be saying different things about this build-up now, if that's actually how they started it. I feel like Rhea has ascended beyond this championship. She is a huge deal. She's one of the most popular women, if not one of the most popular people in WWE.
Absolutely.
I don't think she needs the title to be relevant. I feel like this feud was probably built up for Bianca to come in, and very similar to how we talk about with Roman being the default for WWE, I feel like Rhea has become that within the women's division. Oh, we need something for Jade? Put Rhea in, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It just feels like there's something just not connecting. There's a disconnect between the two of them. I don't know if they are pretending that they don't like each other or if they genuinely don't, but it's not helping the feud and the build. And I do agree with David in saying that I feel like Jade has a lot more to lose if she doesn't win. Because of the criticism she gets online all the time about how she's still green in the ring, she can't cut a good promo, all this critique. If you are to have her lose on the grandest stage of them all, you are quite literally going to solidify people in the IWC and their opinions, because you've just proven them right. If you're not going to allow her to actually take this moment and say, you know what, screw you guys, I actually am good at what I do. If you give it to Rhea, people will say, well, they'll put insert last name of, huge wrestler, Rhea Hogan, they'll start calling her that, and she doesn't deserve that. I want Rhea to win, but I think it really needs to go to Jade. And then maybe even Bianca Belair could come out and just have a face-off with her. Or how you've got the faction with Jade, Meechin, and B-Fab, and then you've got Rhea and Io. It's 2-on-3. Just bring out Bianca to, side with Io and Rhea. That calls back to that triple threat they had last year.
Yeah.
The
build has not been good, has it? Even Io's involvement to me is a little bit strange. Like she's this pawn for Jade to use to get one up on Rhea. The end of SmackDown, the April 12th SmackDown in the US, one that we saw here yesterday, was just weird. It was just awkward, and it was such an anti-climax. I'm not too sure what it really achieved. It just felt flat. And again, the story didn't need to be this complicated. I think for me, it all turned pear-shaped on the promo a couple of weeks ago, where Jade came out with Meechin and B-Fab, Jade and Rhea were all talking over each other, like they were just all trying to get their shit in. And I kind of lost interest there. No, that's not fair. I didn't lose interest because I am interested in this match. But I just thought to myself, we're in trouble here with this feud. but I'm Mr. Optimistic. Jade has an incredible dance partner in Rhea. They have the best producers and trainers wrapped around them. No one wants to put on a WrestleMania match that absolutely shits the bed. So I'm hopeful that this might be an opportunity where people can stand up and take notice and say, well, even though Rhea carried the match, man, Jade did really good. Not everyone can be Ricky Steamboat. Not everyone has to be Ricky Steamboat. And Jade's advantage, like what she said in that first promo, is her physique. She's got an aura about her. She can still be one of the biggest superstars in this industry. I don't believe she'll get to a Ricky Steamboat level of performing, but I'm hopeful that she does elevate, and hopefully that this match will do it for her.
Can I say one more thing? Sorry. Just for a minute, and it's just occurred to me while you're talking about that. Take the Ober-Brock feud and put Jade and Rhea in those spots, and we care about this. That's all you needed to do. You didn't need you just needed Rhea being the one person in the world that Jade's like, is she better than me? And sowed those seeds of doubt. And Brock, for all of the stuff that we think about Brock Lesnar, he has done a monumental job of making Oberfemi look like the baddest ass in the history of pro wrestling. Yep. And that's all this needed to be, was confrontation, no words spoken, just intimidation on both sides, a couple of brawls here and there, and it would have been fine. And we wouldn't be complaining about it. But they tried to involve too much story into a really uncomplicated matchup. And that's a real shame, and it hasn't worked for either wrestler.
Yeah.
Look, 5 minutes ago, I wanted Rhea to win, and I thought that she would win. But you've turned me, folks. I think that it does make sense that Jade really does need this. So hopefully she gets the win. Hopefully it's a good match. Hopefully she progresses into really being a superstar that people admire more than they do now, because she is admired, just not everywhere.
I think there is a large portion of the WWE universe that wants to see Jade do well.
Yeah.
I really feel like there is. We talk about her aura, her physique, her just general demeanor. There are people that do want to see her do well. But WWE in this title run hasn't really done any favors with, the lack of defenses and just the lack of understanding of what she is as a character and truly pushing that to television. It's been not just in this build-up, but since she was champion.
Mm-hmm.
Now that takes us to Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. Now, all of the graphics have the Demon Finn Balor. Have they mentioned the Demon? Have I missed this? Has the Demon been mentioned at all?
There was a vignette on Raw, you guys probably saw it, where he was talking about, I'm bringing a side out of me that I thought was Punk forever. And they did a close-up, and then there was a little graphic where his eyes went face painty.
And the breathing of that theme music was playing too. So they kind of confirmed it without confirming it. And
then they just confirmed
it. They put up a graphic that says Demon Finn Balor versus Dom Mysterio. Okay.
All right, thanks for the spoiler, guys.
Yeah, I wish they didn't, because that would have been a great one. Like in WrestleMania 40, 39? When was it Edge and Balor? 39. Yeah, that was great.
This match needs to be at nighttime.
It needs to be at night.
He came out as the Demon for that Hell in a Cell match with Edge, and it was like, oh man, this would be so much better if it wasn't in the daytime.
Yeah. You can't be scared of monsters in the daytime. Imagine Michael Jackson's Thriller and the sun's still up. It's not the same.
And also his music bangs, so can't wait to see him come out to that.
Yeah. Oh, Agreed.
We're all going to be like this, right?
I've been practicing in the mirror. I was doing it before I got on pod.
Oh, excellent. David, let's start with you. The Demon, Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, I think the Demon is what makes all the difference here. Obviously, we have seen the Demon come up short in the past, but you can count them on one hand. He's essentially an unbeatable character. And Dominic Mysterio at the start of the year, when he was AAA champion and Intercontinental champion, also felt unbeatable to a degree, obviously in a much more slime ball of a way. But that's not the case now. Dominic Mysterio, very beatable, and the Demon Finn Balor, I can't see it going any other way than a dominant victory for Finn Balor. I agree entirely that this would have been much better as a surprise during the entrance if it was alluded to, but if it was only finally confirmed that Finn Balor has gone to this place during his entrance. But so a different conversation to be had if this is Finn Balor the man versus Dominic Mysterio. But Finn Balor the Demon, he's going to steamroll Dom Mysterio. And I'd like to see it.
You just want to see him get steamrolled so bad. You're a Dom Mysterio hater, David Dunn. I've always said that about you. Court, what do you think?
Look, I've been wanting this match for a very long time. I've been super excited about the Judgment Day implosion angle. I absolutely loved it when it finally happened. Just seeing the entirety of the Judgment Day, including JD, turn on Finn, that part had me truly heartbroken. You know, you guys have been brothers for 14 years. He trained you, JD. How could you turn your back on him? I did think it was probably initially a little bit too early to pull the demon out, but I'm very happy that he's coming out. I'm very happy that he's gotten to this point where it feels so personal to him that he doesn't even feel within himself that he's capable of taking off or, beating Dom in this sense, and that he's having to pull in the demon from within to truly help execute this. I do want to see the demon win. If we don't have the demon win, we know as soon as we get online, there is going to be comments, the demon is buried, this. And I'm really hoping that WWE understands that it is important to have somebody like Finn Balor, who we want to push back into that world title scene and with his alter ego as the demon, get that win. So I'm wanting and thinking that Finn is going to win. I don't think this is the only time we're going to see these two mix it up in the ring. I think maybe we could have a mixed tag scenario with Liv and Dom going up against Finn and Roxanne if Roxanne chooses to align with Finn, and then maybe we get like another match down the line, maybe even a stipulation. But I do really think Finn needs this, not just as the demon, but the character Finn Balor. And he's been built up really well since the beginning of this year. He had that feud with CM Punk with the title. People really want to see Finn, back at the top again. Yeah. It's been 10 years since he won the Universal Championship. We need to see Finn getting pushed this year.
Brad, where do you sit on this one?
Interesting that this is the night after Liv's match. So whether or not she's successful the night before and how Roxanne plays a role in that will be really interesting. I agree with Court. I think Roxy gets involved in this somehow. Not that the demon needs help, but I definitely think she may prevent some Liv Morgan interference potentially. But can't believe I'm saying this because Dominic Mysterio is almost my favorite wrestler. So I want and think the demon will win because he is the demon. I think it would be having a different discussion if this was Finn Balor and then maybe the demon comes out of Backlash or something. But look, I think they need to sell some tickets, right? So people are going to want to see the demon. But please make sure this is the second to last match so it goes on at night time. Please, because the demon's so much more cooler at night. But looking forward to it. I think this is going to be a really good match. And I don't know if it's going to be long. And I think you could actually cram quite a lot between these two guys into sort of 6 or 7 minutes. But Dom's fantastic. Finn is I'm a big Finn Balor fan, always have been, and I think he's been kind of misused since the Judgment Day stuff. Probably could have been he probably could have even had Damian Priest's title reign, and it would have been more believable potentially. So looking forward to this match. Looking forward to seeing the demon. Dom always shines out at Mania, guys, and I'm sure he'll have another good match again. And 2026 should be the year of Dom Mysterio, but I don't think WrestleMania will be the moment of Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah. I'm really happy to see Balor out on his own. And I think the whole Judgment Day faction has been really good for him. There's been a side of him come out, a bit more of a comedic side from time to time, a little bit more vulnerable from time to time. And it feels like the timing was really good on pulling the trigger on him exiting that faction. I would have liked to have seen this be for the AAA Mega Championship. Would be good to see that title on this card. The fact that Balor as the demon is a pretty likely winner is maybe a good reason as to why we're not seeing this for the Mega Championship. I feel like it's a little bit of a sleeper match on the card though, which sounds a bit weird, I know, but it just feels like it's been going under the radar a little bit. Maybe because there's been so many angles that have been getting so much TV time and this one hasn't had as much. I'm loving the continued rise of Dom, but again, it just makes sense for Balor to win, right? Especially as the demon. I do want to see him progress and head back into the singles world championships that are seen. And I think we're still going to see a huge year for Dom Mysterio, who often in loss can be elevated more than in victory. What a moment last year, by the way, the Intercontinental Championship win. So good.
I think the Judgment Day, all iterations of it, has been really good for Finn, because you think of all of the superstars that have been built from being part of the Judgment Day. I truly think that Finn has actually really helped. Damian Priest's rise to stardom, Dominic Mysterio, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez. The list goes on of how many great stars have been born under that faction. It's Finn's time to shine. He's built up so many amazing stars on his own, and a lot of people are actually being reminded of how great Finn Balor is. And I'm did you guys not see this this whole time. Like, he's been working towards building up these guys, and he's now finally getting this opportunity. I'm really hoping that WWE is in a position where they do want to push Finn Balor back into that main event scene and remind us of how great he really is.
Yeah, there's no reason why he can't have a 3-month title reign in the middle of the year. Like
exactly.
And that's a great spot for him to be in. Like, he deserves that. And, you know, like, I think that'd be a cool moment.
Yeah, there'll be a large portion of the WWE universe that will be so excited to see that, myself included.
Yeah, big time. Hey, we're on the home stretch. There are 3 matches to go. One of them for the United States Championship. Sami Zayn, your United States champion. Sami Zayn, your United States champion versus Trick Williams.
My United States champion.
Sounds like you need to start.
We want
Court, let's go with you.
I just feel so bad for Carmelo. I really do. Like, I know that he's probably been written off television and he's not going to be a part of WrestleMania, but he has held together that SmackDown mid-card division since the beginning of this year, since winning the United States Championship. Him and Ilya have held this together week to week. And yeah, I totally understand Sami Zayn finally having a change of heart and realizing he needs to take these opportunities when they come up to, you know, put himself in title trajectory and in a position for that. I just don't know why they couldn't have made it a triple threat. I just don't know. Like, there's no legitimate reason why they couldn't do it. And there's also no reason why it couldn't have just been Carmelo versus Trick for the United States Championship. Like, we've had feuds with them before. We've seen some fantastic matches. They have history. I just feel like this is a situation where it just got too confusing and WWE just gave up.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this, I do think this is built for Trick to win. And I do want to see that. You know, he is a huge star on his own. Don't really know why Lil Yachty's there. He doesn't need Lil Yachty. I know that he enhances it and that's fine, but Trick can speak, he can work, he can do his job perfectly fine. So Trick for the win, want and think.
Feels like potentially we're all going to be saying the same thing here, but Brad, let's go with you.
So you cannot convince me in any way that they haven't changed tack on the United States Championship road to WrestleMania. Like, why change it so late? There's been intertwining stuff between Melo and Sammy and Ilya and Sammy and Trick and all of those 3 guys. And I think the original plan was probably a fatal 4-way, and for some reason they went in another direction. Melo absolutely 1,000,000 trillion% deserves to be walking into Mania as the United States champion. And even if he lost it there, I wouldn't have had a problem with it, because it always felt like, and I think I said to you in our Mania predictions last year, that Trick versus Melo would be the United States Championship match at WrestleMania. And I don't know why that's not happening either, Court. But look, I think Trick's going to get one of the biggest pops of the entire weekend when he wins that title off Sammy. His entrance is super cool. The dude just oozes superstar. And from the moment he stepped onto the main roster, he's looked like a bona fide WrestleMania main eventer. And I think he could be a world champion before some of the other guys that we've been predicting could be world champions. And I think he wins this match. I hope he wins this match. And Sammy's a story you can tell with other people. Get him away from Trick. And hopefully this is building towards Melo and Trick having a banger feud leading into potentially SummerSlam. Although, I don't know about you guys, does it feel like they're turning Trick babyface? Like, I don't think you can deny the fact that the crowd wants to cheer him. And so, you know, do they end up pairing Melo and Trick up again? Because that was magic in a bottle in NXT. They were phenomenal together as both a babyface and a heel duo. So that could be a way to go. But yeah, as long as they have a plan for Carmelo after this, then I'll be okay with it. I won't sit right with me, because the bloke deserves it, man. He's and not just held down the mid-card division, Court. He's made SmackDown interesting. And he's been like the only person really week in, week out that has made SmackDown interesting, because his matches have been sick, and Ilya deserves it too. So I'm really disappointed that they're not involved in it. And I think it's a creative fail from WWE not involving Ilya and Melo, who have been the United States Championship for the last 6 months in this match. But yeah, Trick, I think, and I want to win, Dion.
I don't, you talk about whether they turn Trick babyface. I think he is babyface. Sorry, I think he's the good guy. He's not a babyface. And if he was to officially be on the babyface side, please don't change him. Keep him exactly as he is. We love him because of how he presents and how how he smack talks and his lemon pepper steppers, all of this stuff. Don't change it. All that needs to change is who his opponents are. He doesn't necessarily need to be the one that gets beaten down week on week and need to get vengeance against whoever the hot heel of the day
Sammy's
is.
going to get booed out of Vegas, Dion. He is going to get booed
100%.
out of Las Vegas.
And do you think that is not by design? This is absolutely by design. Sami Zayn is not a babyface. We're in the beginnings of the heel run of Sami Zayn, and it's going to be subtle, and there's not going to be a moment. Maybe there is going to be a moment at WrestleMania. Maybe there'll be a post-match beatdown and he slices him open with steel chair, ring steps or whatever the case may be. But Sami is a heel. Sami's a heel. David Dunn.
Yeah, exactly right. Sammy's a heel. Exactly right. Trick is a fan favorite. And I think perhaps that speaks to a deliberate choice by WWE not to involve Ilya Dragunov or Carmelo Hayes, because in this conversation here, we've spoken about, we've found them to be the MVP players on SmackDown. Would that muddy the water if Trick were to get his championship win at the expense of a Carmelo Hayes?
Great point.
Whereas now, much more of a black and white situation where Trick comes in, he's the good guy, he defeats Sami Zayn, he's the bad guy, and everyone gets to give the reaction they'd like to give. There's no shades of grey umming and ahhing about would we have liked to see Carmelo get his moment. So I'm a want and a think for Trick, and I think it's a deliberate choice by WWE to pivot to Sami Zayn away from Carmelo Hayes in the build.
I can't add anything to anything that you've all said. I think we're all on the same page with this one. I want Trick Williams to win. I think Trick Williams will probably win, and although it makes no sense from a booking perspective for this early on in his career for Trick to lose, I think Sami Zayn may well win. I'm going to put a lazy fiver on it, just to piss us off, and build him.
Can I ask all three of you a question? Who main events WrestleMania first? Trick Williams, Obafemi, Braun Breaker, or Jacob Fatu?
Ooh. Fatal 4-way.
Murderous row, isn't it?
Yeah, put it as a fatal 4-way. Put all four of them in it.
Those four are the future of WWE right there. Those four particular individuals. And there's a couple of other people on NXT that I think could rise to that as well. Shout out to Tony D'Angelo, by the way. He's been phenomenal in NXT with his title win. But yeah, man, I am a massive Trick Williams mark. I think he's been tremendous.
Yeah, those four guys you mentioned just before, that's easily like a reinvention of the OVW class, right?
Yeah, it is.
Those four
100%. Yeah.
Very cool. Speaking of Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. Man, you talk about meat.
Match, we don't need to talk because we're all going to agree this is awesome.
Maybe we should just check, though. We should just double check.
Maybe we should, because I've got a wild card prediction, which will not come true, but it is a wild card nonetheless. David Dunn, let's start with you.
Look, yeah, we talked about it earlier with Rhea and Jade, didn't we? That this has been the blueprint for a build to WrestleMania. This has been executed pretty much perfectly. And yeah, in terms of everything that I've seen on TV, how could I not expect Obafemi to win? He's had Brock Lesnar's number pretty much every step of the way. How could I not want Obafemi to win? He's he's a new, exciting face to the roster. He was featured very prominently on the Saturday night's main event where John Cena retired. This is Obafemi's for the taking, and I've got no reason to think that he won't be able to get it done.
I've got one gripe with Obafemi, by the way. The march is brilliant. The march is brilliant to the ring, right? But don't do it every time. Don't turn it into Jey Uso yeeting in the middle of a Royal Rumble. There's times where Obafemi just needs to come down to the ring and deal with business, and I think there was one opportunity where he could have done that with Brock Lesnar.
It's I think it's cultural. Israel Adesanya talked about it. It's a Nigerian thing. So, and Israel actually did it in his last fight. So I wonder if he's just trying to channel culture, so to speak.
Yeah, well, interesting you say. It'd be like us saying we'd be up in arms if someone says, why are the All Blacks doing the haka?
Yeah.
Same sort of thing, right? Court.
Look, this has probably been the best build for a WrestleMania match. It's simple, it's effective. We want to just see these two men collide in the ring. I think it's been a great job that WWE's built this one, considering all the other confusing storylines we've seen get built up in the background. Short and sweet, Oba needs to win. Oba gains so much more from beating Brock Lesnar in this match for the rest of his WWE career. the fact that if Oba wins this match, it'll be remembered as his shining moment on the main roster and will help build his career up and up and up. I can't see a situation where they give it to Brock. I really hope they don't. So I want and think it needs to be Oba for me.
Brad?
Yeah, 100% Oba needs to win this, and I think he will, because I don't think WWE would be able to survive a Brock Lesnar win. But let's be honest, Brock's got probably this and SummerSlam left, right? He even talked about on the Pat McAfee pod a couple of weeks ago, where he's only here now for a short time and limited appearances, not that he wasn't limited before. I also think, I know he's getting paid a bank, but credit to him for being around for this feud as well. Like, he's been on, 5 of the last 6 Raws or 4 of the last 5, and it really helped. And for all of the stuff that we think about Brock, and putting to the side all the stuff that's going on with that court, with the civil case, he's done a tremendous job of making Oba Femi look like a badass. Yep. From the moment that you could see him direct Oba to put your foot on my chest and point to the WrestleMania sign. I think Brock Lesnar does business when he respects the person that he's doing business with. And CM Punk's talked about that. He said Brock will do, and John Cena has as well, Brock will do business if you do business with him. And I think it's going to be a short, sweet, and violent match. I can't wait to see it. And an absolute masterstroke putting this on free television by WWE and ESPN, because it's gonna make people want to potentially watch the rest of the card as well. But I can't wait for this. It would be a creative decision of epic proportional failure if Brock Lesnar wins this match, to the point that I think a lot of people will turn off WWE television for good if Oba Femi does not win this match. And I hope and pray that Brock and Paul Levesque think the same thing.
Yeah.
They will turn it off for good until SmackDown the following Friday. That's how it works, Brad. Now, Brock Lesnar has made Oba Femi, the bell hasn't even rung. He's already made Oba Femi. I think he's been incredibly generous with the way that that he has reacted to Oba. I don't mean generous like he had any say in. Well, no, I do mean it, because he had every say in saying, "I'm not putting this kid over." But he has put him over, like you say, the foot on the chest, the look in his eye. I'm really looking forward to this, man. Probably more than any Brock Lesnar match, possibly in his career. Certainly since Brock versus Rock at SummerSlam 2002. That's a long-ass time ago. These are big boppers. It makes no sense for Oba to lose this match. So I want him to win. I expect him to win. I'm going to put a wild card out there, which I don't think is going to happen. But I want it on record, so if it does, I can say, told you. Brock wins, joins the TKO faction. Tell me that definitely can't happen.
Boo.
It definitely can't happen. I'm kidding.
Nah. Because you got to think, Brock's going to be a babyface in Minneapolis, right? So I think, and you tell the story the next night, right? Brock comes out, Paul Heyman says, sorry, bro, I've done this favor. Gunther's wrestling you at WrestleMania in a retirement match. F5 to Paul Heyman, then we don't see Brock again until 3 weeks before SummerSlam. So, I can't see. I can see a Brock Oba shake hand at end of this, like where it's like a combat sports fight, an MMA fight where you've got 2 heavyweights going up against each other. At the end of the fight, they shake hands, they hug because they have respect for each other, and this is a pass the torch moment. I like your little prediction because I like the fact that you want to be the only guy in the world that predicted it to happen. But
he wants to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I just want to be right.
It would be
but I want it to be right that way.
It would be huge creative mistake, massive. Like they would not be able to recover from it.
Yeah. I do feel like we could see something happen though, where it looks as though, like very similar to the WrestlePalooza match with Brock and John, how Brock was very dominant at the beginning of the match. And you can feel that air getting sucked out of the arena, at Allegiant Stadium. And then Oba just finds a way to reverse it and just obviously finishes the match on a high. I think that is probably what storytelling WWE wants to probably put out there, is how Oba's looked really strong. Brock's been questioning it. Brock, he's a bit cocky at the beginning of it, and then suddenly is just blindsided by how Oba's able to just overcome and take the win.
Yeah. I like that. And I would put a lazy fiver on your prediction there, Brad, of these 2 shaking hands at the end. that's probably the most likely thing to happen this whole WrestleMania weekend.
I also predict a Goldberg tweet where he says, "I beat him quicker."
Oh, please no.
I beat him
Followed
quicker
by
than you,
Brett.
Goldberg. You're next.
Please no. Please no.
All right, lucky last, or is it first? It's probably going to be first on WrestleMania Sunday.
And it's going to slap.
It is going to slap. The Intercontinental Championship ladder match. Penta is your champion versus Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, Rusev, why is he in there? And Rey Mysterio. Let's start with you, Court.
I just find it very interesting how this match kind of came together because it got announced and then half an hour later, they were like, oh, guys, by the way, we're going to have all these qualifying matches for this match at WrestleMania take place on main event. So we already kind of knew who won the match before the main event matches went down. They could have used the time slots within WWE leading up to WrestleMania to have these qualifying matches so people could get invested into who Penta's going to face. But hey, look, I don't make the decisions here. I just watch the show and talk about it. I think the biggest rising star in this match is Javon Evans. And I feel as though this stipulation of a ladder match leans very well into his moveset and his in-ring ability and how he's working towards it. I think in this group of men that we have in this match, he's definitely looking like the favourite for the win. I would love to see him have this moment. I definitely think it's going to be a star-making performance for him, very similar to Trick and Oba. I definitely can see WWE wanting to give it to him, and I think that's what they're going to do. Where Penta goes from here is the part that would question my thoughts if, he loses this match. I don't know where Penta goes, if he goes up to the main event scene or if he continues to circle around the Intercontinental Championship, if he moves over to SmackDown for the US title. I'm not really too sure. The lineup of the guys in this match is very exciting. You've got JD, who's great in the ring, high flyer as well. Rey, who's come back just in time, is fantastic. Rusev was the one that kind of I questioned the most, but I guess he'll be there to catch the guys as they jump off the ladder.
Very pragmatic.
It could be
But no, I think this will be a great
match.
match. I'm very excited for Javon. I feel like he's going to get the win in this.
David.
I don't know if Javon Evans will get the win in this, but I'm reasonably confident that Javon Evans will be who we remember coming out of this match. Yeah, this is a matchup that's built for that car crash style of entertainment, those WrestleMania moments, and Javon Evans certainly placed to have a WrestleMania moment here, whether he gets the win or not. Rusev seems like such a random inclusion that I almost wonder whether he will wind up being the winner, because I just can't, one of these men is not like the others in any respect otherwise. So why else is he there?
It was like when Kane was in Money in the Bank and everyone's like, why is Kane in this? And then he won and became world champion later that night. Like,
you know what I mean? So I'm certainly not sold on my own prediction there, but I really, this is just a match for the spectators here. It's going to be great. And let's in a similar way to you, Dion, wanting to get the credit if it happens, but not actually thinking it will. I'll take Rusev for the win, please.
Here we go. Rusev for the win. David Dunn. Good. I've written it down. What have we got? We've got Brad left. Brad.
would love to see a backstage segment where Rusev's knocked out and Rey Fenix replaces him in this match, please.
Yes.
Can we please have that? But there is a fly to this ointment, and as we record this on the 12th of April, Penta has an Intercontinental title defense on Rey Reyes against Vikingo. By the way, and I think that match is happening in a couple of hours. That match is going to be amazing. Vikingo, I think, could win that match and then is added to this Mania match, which gets AAA. As long as it is the AAA mega champion on the card and Dom Mysterio, but Vikingo in the match as well. Vikingo can only make a match better. He cannot make a match worse. That would be humanly impossible for that guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's how it plays out. And Vikingo ends up on the card or in this match somehow. I just wish Rey Fenix was in it, but I don't think they're taking the strap off Penta because he's incredibly over. His English is not Rey Mysterio level, but he's doing a bloody good job and he's connected with the audience. We loved whenever he's on TV, we love to see him. I think he's been so much fun to watch. I do agree with Dave that I think Javon Evans will be the Jeff Hardy of this match, where he's the one we'll be seeing in the promos for years to come. But I don't think the time is right to take the title off Penta. And I do think Vikingo could end up being added to this at some point if something happens in this AAA match in the next couple of hours. So I could look like a genius or I could look like a fool, but I think Penta will win. And I think I want him to win. I don't know, because I like a lot of people in this. I'd actually really love a JD McDonough win, to be honest with you, because
that would be awesome.
he's freaking awesome. And he needs it more than anybody else in that match. It's almost like that Matt Cardona match at WrestleMania years ago when he won the ladder match and then lost it the night after. But yeah, I think Penta will win, and I think I want him to win. But there's some cool people in this, so I wouldn't be worried if it went either way.
And we've still got a week to go, right? And it's reasonably common for these ladder matches to involve 8 participants. So maybe we will see Vikingo, and maybe we'll see Rey Fenix. Let's see what happens. This is going to be a train wreck in the best possible way. I always find it interesting in these sorts of matches where there's a couple of people, and certainly 3 out of this 6, that you don't even consider as having any chance of winning it. Elimination Chamber matches are much the same. I'm not hearing a lot of chat about Dragon Lee or JD McDonough, certainly not of Rusev. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Javon Evans win. I wouldn't be surprised to see Rey Mysterio win, and I'll tell you why.
Agree.
If we're looking at a potential career-ending match with Rey and Dom, put up your IC title, Dad. Yeah. So that's a possibility as well. But I am going to go with Penta. I think there's still some legs in this Intercontinental Championship run. What an incredible moment it'll be for him if he does take the win. And who doesn't like a good Zero Miedo? You know?
I love good Zero Miedo.
Yeah, so good. So for me, I think Penta will win. I want Penta to win. And I hope this kicks off WrestleMania Sunday. I think it does. I don't know if we know between that or Brock. Both will be great openers.
I'm leaning towards Brock and Ober, I feel like. I don't know why. I just feel like. But
I know why you know why. You've already told me why. Because you think Brock will be on a plane. This starts at 3 p.m., I think. Brock will be on a plane at 3:40.
He's always kind of been the guy that if he's not main eventing, he's opening the show. Yeah. Very similar to Roman in that sense. They don't really like to be put in the middle of the card, which that would just be more time for me to get my nerves out and just chill before I have to go out there.
Yeah, he's got like buck to shoot and all sorts of stuff. So
I think I feel like just sitting here, it's been cathartic talking to you guys, because I know I was misery when I said the build-up hasn't been great across the board, but I think we've got 8 or 9 really good matches.
Absolutely.
And then we've got a couple that could be good, and then 1 or 2 that we haven't loved the build-up, but they could be good if they went the right way. So I feel positive, and you have for a month, Dion, that this Mania card is going to be a lot better than we thought it would be 2 months ago. So the bones are there, as they say, for a really good Mania. It's now whether or not creative can follow those bones.
Yeah, and maybe it's recency bias, but to me, this feels like one of the stronger WrestleMania cards in quite some time. I don't know how I was sitting a year ago or 2 years ago, and certainly WrestleMania 40 and 39, it was all about Cody and Roman and a few other matches that you were really keen on. This seems a little bit more widespread. Yeah. Do we have anything more to add? David, any final thoughts on WrestleMania?
Slightly out of left field, but I just wonder, what's everyone's thoughts on Nickelback as the theme song? Because I come from a specific age where that really harkens back to when I was getting into wrestling. You know, I mean, some of you might be that sort of the more classic Mania, that was repurposed for the Wind.
Didn't they do like a Jeff Hardy tribute once? Nickelback, they did a Jeff Hardy tribute, didn't they? At some point.
It's certainly possible, but anyway, hearing that, I mean, The Weeknd's fine, but like this is wrestling music to me. I'm very excited to have some new metal adjacent music attached to this show.
I'm excited.
I have a theory on The Weeknd. He knew what was going down with McMahon. How do you get 4 WrestleMania theme songs in a row? And the last one was terrible. The last one was a good song. It was terrible as a WrestleMania fight theme.
The Fiend song.
Yeah. That was Travis Scott. The theme.
I don't want to hear that.
No. Sorry, the Weeknd's last. You talk amongst yourselves, and I'll find what it was called.
All right. We will talk amongst ourselves. Just a couple of tidbits from me. First of all, I think it's a travesty Tiffany Stratton's not on this card. I think it's an absolute travesty that Io Sky's. Why not just put those two together? I don't know. I also think WWE needs to honor women more, and I've told you about this, Dion. There should be a China Memorial Battle Royal on the same night of the Andre. In fact, those 2 matches should be the opening matches on a pre-show of Mania. I know they've announced the Andre Memorial Battle Royal for next week, but we've got so many women on the card. You could add in like a Kalani Jordan and a JC Jane and some of the talent from NXT, maybe a AAA wrestler or a TNA wrestler as well. But I just think that there needs to be more respect for that, and China deserves that respect for a start. So that's still a disappointment for me. I'd held out hope because there's so many good women that aren't on this card, including Julia, Chelsea Green, Tiffany Stratton, Io Sky Court.
Can I just throw this stat to you really quick about the United States Women's Championship? And I'm going to film a video about this next week. It has not been defended on a single pay-per-view since its inception outside of a Saturday night's main event. How? You had Chelsea Green as the champion last year. She didn't make it on the show. She was fit and healthy and fine. I spoke to her about it at the time and she was really disappointed by it, but obviously kept that spirit up as she does. My moment will come. I just don't understand how that has never made a feature on WrestleMania. And we talk about the Women's Intercontinental Championship and then the United States Women's Championship. They came to the roster about the same time, but we talk about the IC title more because it's been built up and actually has legitimacy and legacy behind it because of all the people that have held it and the work that's been done. Why? I just don't understand why we can't do that with the US title.
Here.
It's just and Io not even being on the show, she literally walked in as champion last year, and she's fodder to the Jade Cargill Rhea Ripley feud.
Dion, you're muted. D.
He's just popping off. He doesn't want us to hear what he's saying.
You should have heard what I was saying. I was so upset.
You said again then?
Io, yes. So Io not being on WrestleMania, which I know is one of Brad's big bugbears, and one of Asuka.
You had Io Asuka there. It's right in front of you, man. And
look, maybe we're still going to get it.
A few days, we could look all like idiots in a couple of days' time when the match is named on Raw. But given Io's involvement with Jade, I can't see it happening. So, come on, man. Come on. It's Io freaking Sky. That'd be like not having CM Punk on WrestleMania, or Seth Rollins. It's just really disappointing, man. Really disappointing.
The weekend, by the way, WrestleMania 39, less than zero.
Oh, the
Spotify.
band The Weekend. Oh, I got you. Sorry.
It's not a band. It's one man. Yeah. And great track. Terrible WrestleMania theme. He had something on McMahon. I'm telling you right now. All right. Thank you so much to Court. Thank you so much to David for joining us. Guys, I wish the four of us were actually going to Mania together. How good would that have been? We can sit together and we can be like, you were right, you were wrong, and Brock Lesnar did not join the TKO faction. What a stupid idea that was. Well, that won't be happening in 12
months in Saudi, so maybe 24 months' time we'll make that happen, team.
Depends on if there's a location change. We never know.
That is quite possible. Yeah. Quite possible. All right, folks, enjoy WrestleMania. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We'd be interested in your predictions. Send them on through. Until next time, have a good one.